It is always something with this lady. It is always something, even in a blowout. I mean, this lady just can't get right. Yeah, just can't get right. Stephanie White absolutely blew up on the bench, crash out right in front of Caitlin Clark again.
The tension surrounding the Indiana Fever has reached a level that few fans could have imagined, and one game against the Las Vegas Aces has suddenly become the center of a storm that refuses to slow down. What started as a high-pressure matchup quickly turned into something much bigger, with emotional reactions, heated debates, and non-stop speculation spreading across social media almost instantly. Fans weren't just talking about the final score, they were trying to figure out what was happening behind the scenes, and every replay seemed to raise even more questions. Before we dive into everything, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy in-depth basketball coverage that separates verified facts from rumors and gives you the full story behind the biggest headlines. There has been an incredible amount of speculation surrounding this situation, and we're breaking down what actually happened, what people are saying, and why this moment has captured so much attention. One of the biggest talking points revolves around head coach Stephanie White and the emotional atmosphere that unfolded during the game.
It affects me a little bit more than I do put on, and I would never change any of that for the world, but I think it's important that people do remember that part of it too. So at the same time, it's really interesting to me because even I turned the TV on Sunday and that game was on Wednesday, and that's all people are still talking about, and I feel like that's just a real disservice to our league, but to continue to beat down, and then for the narrative to be taken other places, that is really just that's just really not acceptable.
Cameras caught several tense moments on the Indiana bench, and those clips immediately exploded online. Within minutes, countless posts began claiming there had been a complete breakdown inside the organization. Some fans argued the frustration reflected nothing more than the pressure of a difficult game, while others believed it pointed to much deeper issues that had been building over time. The reactions became so intense that separating genuine observations from internet exaggeration quickly became a challenge. As those clips continued circulating, even more dramatic stories began appearing across social media. Some posts claimed league executives were preparing major action, while others suggested shocking organizational changes were already underway. However, many of those claims spread far faster than any verified information. That didn't stop the conversation from growing louder, and the uncertainty only fueled even more debate as basketball fans searched for answers. At the center of nearly every discussion was Caitlin Clark. Because of her enormous popularity and influence, every visible interaction involving the rookie became a topic of national conversation. Fans carefully analyzed body language, coaching decisions, and sideline reactions, with many trying to determine whether there was hidden tension or simply the normal frustration that comes with competing at the highest level. Depending on who you asked, the exact same clip told two completely different stories. Perhaps the biggest wave of speculation involved rumors that this single game could have massive consequences for the future of the franchise. Online posts began making extraordinary claims about coaching changes, executive involvement, and even Caitlin Clark's long-term future with the Fever. Many of those reports remain unverified, but they have unquestionably fueled one of the biggest basketball conversations of the season. So what actually happened during that emotional night, and which parts of the story are supported by evidence versus internet speculation? That's exactly what we're about to break down. The conversation surrounding the Indiana Fever only became more intense after the game, as every camera angle from the bench was dissected by fans, analysts, and media personalities alike. Within hours, social media was overflowing with bold claims about what had supposedly happened between Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. Some posts described the interaction as a normal emotional exchange during a competitive game, while others portrayed it as evidence of much deeper frustration inside the organization. The truth quickly became harder to separate from the speculation, and that uncertainty kept the story growing. As more footage circulated online, viewers began slowing down clips, analyzing facial expressions, and debating every visible reaction. One side believed White was simply coaching with emotion in the middle of a difficult matchup against one of the league's strongest teams. Others felt the exchange appeared unusually tense and reflected pressure that had been building for weeks. Regardless of which interpretation people supported, there was little doubt that the moment had become one of the most discussed incidents of the season. Much of the debate centered on whether the interaction represented ordinary sideline coaching or something that looked more personal. Competitive basketball is full of emotional conversations between players and coaches, especially during high-stakes games. At the same time, fans naturally pay extra attention whenever Caitlin Clark is involved because every decision surrounding her is examined under a microscope. That combination turned what might otherwise have been a brief sideline moment into a nationwide discussion that refused to fade. The internet responded exactly as many expected. Highlight clips spread at incredible speed, reaction videos piled up by the thousands, and countless commentators offered completely different explanations for what viewers had just seen. Some argued the coaching staff mishandled the situation, while others warned against reaching conclusions from only a few seconds of footage. Without complete context, many of the strongest claims remained opinions rather than established facts. But that didn't stop people from passionately defending their side of the debate. Sponsors, broadcasters, and league observers also found themselves watching the public reaction closely. Whenever a story involving one of the WNBA's biggest stars dominates headlines, it naturally attracts enormous attention from every corner of the basketball world. That doesn't necessarily mean dramatic organizational action is coming, but it does raise the stakes for everyone involved. Public perception can change quickly, especially when millions of fans are discussing the same clips at the same time. What made this moment stand out wasn't just the exchange itself, it was the timing. Expectations surrounding the Fever remain incredibly high, and every setback seems to generate even more scrutiny than the last. When emotions run high during meaningful games, even routine coaching decisions can become controversial once they're viewed through the lens of social media. Whether this incident ultimately proves to be a brief emotional moment or a sign of larger challenges inside the organization is still a matter of debate. But one thing is certain, the discussion was only beginning, and even bigger questions were about to emerge. As the emotional scenes from the game continued dominating headlines, the speculation reached an entirely different level. Fans weren't just debating what happened on the Indiana bench anymore. They were now circulating dramatic theories about possible league involvement, organizational changes, and what the future might hold for everyone connected to the franchise. The conversation was moving so quickly that verified information and online rumors were becoming increasingly difficult to separate. One of the biggest claims spreading across social media suggested that league leadership could eventually become involved if tensions inside the organization continued attracting widespread attention. It's important to note that there is no verified evidence that WNBA officials took the kind of immediate action many viral posts described. Still, the sheer volume of discussion highlighted just how much pressure had been created by one highly publicized game. Every new rumor generated thousands of reactions before anyone could confirm whether it was actually true. Another topic fueling debate was the role of league executives whenever controversies begin overshadowing the basketball itself. Professional leagues regularly monitor situations that generate major public attention, particularly when they involve star players or high-profile organizations. However, decisions regarding coaches, front office personnel, or team operations typically follow established organizational and league procedures rather than unfolding in the dramatic fashion described across many social media accounts. That distinction is an important one, even if it doesn't stop speculation from spreading. The internet, however, had little interest in slowing down. Viral videos claimed major announcements were imminent, while live streams and reaction channels confidently predicted sweeping changes before any official statements had been released. Some fans believed the Fever were approaching a turning point, while others argued that the online conversation had grown far beyond the facts that were actually available. As has happened many times in modern sports, the rumors often traveled much faster than the verified reporting. Caitlin Clark remained at the center of nearly every headline. Because she is one of the most recognizable players in basketball, almost every development involving the Fever naturally becomes national news. That level of attention creates enormous expectations and endless public discussion, especially during difficult stretches of the season. Every post-game appearance, every interview, and every visible interaction is analyzed from countless different angles, making it nearly impossible for any emotional moment to remain isolated for very long. Perhaps the most dramatic rumors involve Clark's future with the organization. Across social media, some users claimed she was preparing to leave the franchise or had already made major decisions behind the scenes. At this point, however, there has been no verified announcement supporting those claims. Stories like these often gain momentum because fans are eager for answers, but they should be treated as speculation unless confirmed through credible reporting or official statements. What this situation has undeniably demonstrated is how quickly a single emotional game can evolve into one of the biggest stories in professional basketball. A few tense moments on the sideline sparked debates about coaching, leadership, player relationships, and the future direction of the franchise. Whether those discussions ultimately lead to meaningful changes remains to be seen, but the attention surrounding the Fever has only continued to grow, and as more information becomes available, the full picture may look very different from the version that first exploded across the internet. As the online debate continued, many fans argued that the entire situation had become about far more than one emotional game or one heated exchange on the sidelines. Questions about leadership, communication, and the direction of the Indiana Fever quickly took center stage. Supporters from across the basketball world began asking whether this controversy would simply fade with time or whether it would leave lasting effects on the organization. Whatever the answer turns out to be, the discussion has already become one of the defining WNBA stories of the season. It's also important to separate the confirmed facts from the viral claims. Social media has been flooded with posts suggesting dramatic organizational shakeups, executive intervention, sponsor reactions, and major decisions involving the franchise. At this time, many of those reports remain unverified. While public pressure can certainly influence conversations surrounding professional teams, major organizational changes are typically announced through official channels rather than anonymous online accounts. That distinction matters, especially during moments when emotions are running high. What cannot be denied is the incredible spotlight surrounding Caitlin Clark. Every game she plays attracts enormous attention, and every challenge the Fever encounter becomes national news almost immediately. That level of visibility creates tremendous opportunities, but also brings constant scrutiny. Fans, analysts, former players, and media personalities all interpret the same events differently, making every controversial moment feel even bigger than it might otherwise be. It's one of the realities that comes with being one of the most recognizable athletes in basketball today. The larger conversation may ultimately be about expectations. The Fever entered the season carrying enormous excitement, and with that excitement came equally high standards. Whenever results fall short or emotions boil over during games, speculation naturally fills the gaps before complete information becomes available. That's exactly what happened here. Some viewers believe the situation exposed deeper organizational concerns, while others see it as a normal part of a long and demanding season. Until more verified information emerges, both perspectives remain part of an ongoing debate rather than settled conclusions. No matter where fans stand, one thing is clear: people care deeply about the future of this franchise and about the continued growth of the WNBA. Every headline, every viral clip, and every post-game discussion reflects just how much interest women's basketball has generated. The league continues reaching new audiences, and with that growth comes even greater attention whenever controversy enters the picture. Those conversations are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more fact-based coverage that separates verified reports from internet rumors, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. We cover the biggest stories across the NBA, and college basketball, always aiming to provide context instead of simply chasing viral headlines. The story surrounding the Indiana Fever is still developing, and more information could emerge in the days ahead. Until then, the basketball world will continue watching closely, waiting to see what happens next, and whether this controversy marks a temporary distraction or the beginning of a much bigger chapter for the franchise.